Hey, what's up guys, Duhstin here. So today I thought we could do sort of like a season 28 tier list, but specifically for cleaving and, based on my experience this season, these are like units that I typically never really wanted to see. I know they were really hard to deal with, or it changed how I approached the draft, things like that. So yeah, let's get into it. So at the very top here, triple S tier, I have to say Douglas was definitely one of the most annoying units to deal with. Even though I'm first picking Xerath, and he's not a wind unit, of course, it's still a 50-50 that he glances and could just solo my team. So that was pretty annoying. Most of the time I would just let it through, and it just becomes like, okay, coin flip, who wins? And it's not, even if I do glance on the first hit, usually you kill the entire team and then it's like a 1v4, but you still have a chance to kill it with like, you could cycle back into the skill 3, heal up, and then, roll again on it. But it was just kind of annoying to deal with most of the time when you do hit the 50-50 on that first hit, and then he can just solo your entire team. So yeah, definitely one of the most annoying units to see. For me, I don't think they'll nerf Douglas, to be honest, but I think if they want to do, they could just drop his glance chance to maybe like 40% max, and that way if you're running light dark units, it's a little bit more in favor for you. I think he should be more of just like a really hard counter into wind units. But yeah, Douglas definitely super hard to deal with for me. And then next to that is Wusa, which I think maybe people would be surprised about, but whenever I saw like Wusa with like a speed lead, for example, I don't know if this was Swift or not. And so if this is Swift, I just lose, right? Because Charlotte can't break the shield typically, and you need some damage into the enemy in order to actually kill stuff with Xerath. So I never really liked seeing this thing. It was really like El Mimo with like Vanessa, Wusa, Ragdoll. That was just, there's like no good picks for me if I'm opening Xerath Charlotte. It was just like almost an auto loss most of the time. And even if you if you don't kill him too, he can just heal up the team with skill 2 and do damage. So it was like, I definitely really didn't like seeing him. But moving on to Berghild. Berghild is again one of those really good, super annoying units to deal with, because there's you can't trap this unit with like Nemesis or anything like that. It's a single target strip and then reduce attack bar, stun. So like I couldn't use my Swift Jamire to like cleanse stuff up and then have that unit go, because she would, again, reduce the attack bar. So coming up with, I did find one counter pick later in the season to deal with her, which is was Raccoony on a Swift set. So you do Xerath first pick, Charlotte Raccoony, and then she would typically stun and push back Charlotte, but as long as your Raccoony is moving second, you can just boost the Charlotte back up and you still have a play. But yeah, overall, pretty annoying to deal with, really strong. Next up is Abellio. My god, I hate this unit so much. Just the passive with no cool time just makes it so he can, he can proc the passive, violent proc one time, get back into druid form, and then inevitably you're going to proc his passive again, and if he procs there, I think he has the skill back. So it was really hard to deal with this sometimes. I did, in a few games, I would usually let an Abellio through if I thought my opponent was giving me Xerath and Charlotte together, because sometimes that's enough, right? Charlotte will do enough damage to obviously not proc the passive, and then Zerath can follow that up and usually get at least 1 or 2 kills. And then if it's a 2v4, then, you know, I'll probably win that. But even still, an Abelio with like a good, I don't know, a good, some other bruiser with an armor break could definitely come back and win. So yeah, Abelio, super strong. I wish they would nerf the passive a bit. Like, I think a 3-turn cooltime would definitely make it more fair. But to be honest, I don't think Comtuous is going to be looking at him. It's not like a priority, in my opinion. So moving on, we got Ragdoll. And yeah, Ragdoll, super OP into cleavers. You know, you crit something and his whole team gets boosted. So even with Charlotte, even though I'm running like, I don't know, 25 crit rate on her, she still hits 3 times, so that's 12 hits she could crit. So if I crit 3 times, that's the opponent getting 30% bar, and then I'll get 30% bar, but then, you know, obviously the next fastest unit could move. So if they're running like Vanessa Ragdoll plus 1 other fast unit, they'll probably cut in. So the only way I found out to deal with this was to pick stuff like Draco, which is a, you know, it doesn't touch the enemy, so you get a 30% boost. And then you can run, I was running Light Robo as well. So it would be Draco into a Light Robo, that's 80% bar. So even if you crit, you're critting 4 times, so they get 40% bar, you get 80 bar, your Zerath is still going to move. Or whatever follow-up unit you have is still going to move. So that's one way you could have dealt with him. But yeah, typically I don't like seeing Ragdoll. I mean, again, even with, besides the passive, the fact that he takes a lot less damage, right? He's got the 20% reflect damage. There are a lot of games where he would just survive, and then torrent, and then the game's over. So yeah, really good unit. Laura, oh my god, this thing needs to get nerfed again. I mean, I think it's got like a 54% win rate or something like that in G3. It's picked a lot with, you know, Oliver Laura is a super strong combo, but you know, it buffs defense, which means the whole team is just going to survive no whatever you throw at it. And then of course buffing speed and then stripping stuff, so it was just really hard to deal with. The only thing I could pick that I came up with that was remotely good is like a Nemesis Chiwu or like a Nemesis Tiana with a Vanessa, something like that, where she does damage, the Nemesis Chiwu or Tiana cuts in, you can strip all the debuffs, push them back, and then your Charlotte will move, or whatever next unit you have will move, and then you get a shot at, you know, kind of reverse cleaving them. So but typically the problem with that is, though, a lot of these lore users will pick Heigang because Heigang counters it. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that draft that you have to think about. But yeah, Laura, super strong. I think she needs to get nerfed again for sure. Next up, Tian Lang. Again, since I'm running attack bar boosters for most of my games, Tian Lang just counters those really well. You have a 15% boost from Charlotte instead of the 30, which means I think he boosts himself, what is it, 15%, 10 or 15%, I think. So most of the time he would cut in and then get a chance to just strip stun the whole team. So TL is just super annoying to deal with as well. The only thing I typically ran into TL was, again, the Nemesis Chiwu, and then a Sonya that moves in front of Charlotte. You go like damage dealt on light, and then you try and snipe the Tian Lang out before your Charlotte, and then you still have the full boost. But yeah, definitely super strong unit. I don't think they'll nerf Tian Lang again. He just took a pretty, I'd say, a decent nerf last patch where his skill 2 damage is quite a bit reduced. which is fair, but you know, his counter pick potential is still very strong. So yeah, moving on. Oliver, probably my most hated unit in the game. I think, what is it? It's been like a year and a half, 2 years of first pick Oliver, and they have done a few good nerfs to him, but I still think a 33 speed lead unit with, you know, Ganny Hathor built into him is still a bit too strong. I think if they dropped him to a 24 lead, he would be pretty fair, but at 33 he's just still like probably like the best first pick overall, especially when like people are building it super tanky on high res. It's just a nightmare to deal with usually, and Oliver is one of the reasons I run damage dealt on wind, right? It's specifically because you want to be able to kill the Oliver right away, so it can't just 1v4 your entire team. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they will take a look at Oliver again, but I mean, we've been saying that for like the past year, and they haven't done too much. I don't remember the last nerf they did. It was probably over a year ago at this point, but yeah, he's still super strong and really annoying, but hopefully they can do some stuff to him. But yeah, I think that's mainly it for like the triple S tier stuff that I really didn't like seeing, and like changed how I approach the draft. So yeah, moving on to A tier. Starting off, we have Carnal. Carnal just overall pretty solid. Since most of my drafts, I used a lot of wind units. A fire bruiser with a 44 HP lead was pretty tough to deal with. You know, because these usually could survive a Zerath Charlotte combo and then just come back and kind of kill your whole team. Same with Sauger. I noticed, like, because these two both have really good leader skills, it's actually hard to get kills on them sometimes. Yeah, Sauger, for that reason, typically able to survive a Zerath Charlotte combo. It's kind of annoying to deal with. It was like this combo: Vanessa, Sauger, Escher, and then usually I wouldn't be able to kill either of them, because sometimes you can get a kill on Vanessa, but if it's like a crit damage Vanessa, but sometimes Vanessas are like really tanky. And yeah, for that reason, I think because Vanessa's a 33 speed lead, able to contest for turn 1, and then also have that revive mechanic where the team, you might get like one kill, but it comes back and then they, you know, do a full reversal on you. So yeah, Vanessa, Sauger, really good. Moving on, we have Mei Ho Wang. Again, it's a fire unit. I'm running a lot of wind, and it's gonna stack up pretty fast and potentially just solo your whole team if you don't get a kill on it really quick. I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. Usually I could probably get a kill onto a Mei Ho Wang. They're not built, you know, like speed HP or something like that. You're usually looking at like a speed crit damage HP or crit damage attack Mei Ho Wang. But sometimes there's drafts where, you know, I'm not going to get a kill on this right away, and it could be a problem in the late game. So yeah, it was really strong. Leica, again, I think Leica honestly might have been a pull or a pick, or I'm sorry, a placement into the triple S tier because of, you know, everything. Charlotte did have multi-hits, or does have multi-hits, but it's wind, and the odds that you stun this with her are pretty low. So, you know, Zerath, Charlotte, Jamire were a lot of my openers this season, and people would just slam a Leica down, and it's almost a must ban unless you want to, you know, deal with the RNG. Like, you can kill this. You know, you can get a lucky stun again, and Jamire can land like attack breaks and attack slows on this to slow it down. But overall, I think most of the games, probably more than half if I let a Leica through, it would solo me. So really strong counter pick into me. And let's see, Lydia. I'd say like Lydia, Alex, some of these bruisers who had this, especially like Ragdoll with either of these and a Gapsu, was just, it's like impossible to cleave this. You have to run like Robos or Chung Pung or something. In fact, I think Lydia was probably scarier than Alexandra because this is built like double Nem will, and she cuts in after your Zerath drops the nuke on her, and then it will just kill the entire team. So yeah, I did not like seeing Lydia's very often. Same with Alex. Alex is a little bit more stationary though. You can sort of let it through and then have Charlotte kind of control it. So it wasn't too bad, but Alex is still really strong against me as well. We just kind of skipped over the Robo. Wind Robo, really solid unit against me as well if it was gonna outspeed me or is gonna take turn 2 against it. Kind of deals with Nem traps really well, so I usually had to, I don't know, maybe pick like Verd or kind of pivot off into a bruiser comp if I saw these sometimes. So yeah, it's a really good unit. Moving on with the ponies, Diana again has the shield, can cut in after Charlotte boosts, put a shield up, and then you can't kill anything. Like, didn't like seeing Diana. Yeah. Same with Eleanor. Eleanor having a 15% glance check and then a 15% crit rate reduced meant like, if you're something would probably survive the Zerath hit, so, and then she would transform and then heal up and put anti-crit up, so kind of an annoying unit to see. Sometimes I'll let it through because it is an RNG unit, right? Like, as long as I crit twice on the key units, it's probably fine. But yeah, typically I didn't like seeing this. What else? We have some Kraka. Kraka, I mean, I didn't really see Kraka too much in a lot of my games, but again, she has that 44 defense lead, which makes it hard to kill, and then the potential to just revive something with invincibility with full cooldowns was kind of scary. Again, I didn't see it too much, but I thought it was pretty good when I did see it. Sonya, I didn't like seeing because it's a high base speed unit. It typically outspeeds my Charlotte Jemire, and then it one-shots something. But I put it in A because if I see this early, it means I usually have to pivot off into like a Shizuka, Carlos or something, and every time you are taking turn 2, things can go kind of wrong. So usually Sonya, I saw a lot, but it's not too bad to deal with. I mean, you can pick again like a Shizuka trap for Sonya's, pick Carlos, stuff like that, and it's usually okay. But I did see a lot of this, and I thought it was pretty good overall. Moving on, we have the orcs. This wind orc thing, I only saw it a couple times. To be honest, it was I fought Rax, and he beat me twice with this thing. But yeah, I think the passive is like, he takes like 50% less damage at high HP or something like that, which is insane because you can't snipe this out. You can't really cleave it. And it also heals the entire team, strips everything, and it auto crits. So I think this unit is actually pretty busted, especially for Siege. I remember I actually had a game where I picked Douglas into this guy, forgetting about the auto crit, and it just threw the club on top of his head, and he was dead. So yeah, this thing's I think it's really strong, even though I haven't seen too much of it. But maybe next season more people will pick it up. yeah, I think it's a bit overtuned. They should probably, Comtuo should probably definitely look at this. All right, and the Dark Orc, the Poop Orc guy, has been starting to gain traction, but by a lot of Ragdoll players, namely. All right, like Ragdoll, this is a insane combo. This thing just does so much. It heals, cleanse heals. It cycles if you heal. It can strip with a mini Molong, reckless assault, and then it stuns on skill 1. It does a lot. And in fact, there's this one game I remember playing where I picked the Anhang, and I just used, all I did was boost. Is like turn 1, right? Her first turn, I boosted a unit and it procs. You don't even have to heal. It just has to be a healing skill, and this will get bar, which is really weird. Anyways, yeah, this thing seems to be really strong, especially paired with LD Ragdoll stuff. So yeah, I never really liked seeing this because it also has a 50% HP lead, which is like, oh, makes everything really thick. Moving on, Chloe. I saw a few Chloes, but I never let this in the draft because it was always last picked against me by these bruiser players. So, you know, what they do is they run a Swift Chloe, which has, and she has a speed lead, so it's like a must ban typically when I'm drafting against bruisers, right? Because most of the time it's like Zerath, Vanessa, Draco with two like damage dealers. So if they pick this and they ban like my Draco or something, it's just over. So I have to ban this every time I see it usually. So yeah, really solid counter pick. Some math. Again, 33 speed lead. Some of the like cleavers I went up against, you know, like Samath, Kabila, Samath, Water Ezio, were a bit difficult to deal with because I'm really not that fast. So it's a 33 speed lead that does a lot of damage. If Zerath kills this, then, you know, the Samath revives and then kills Zerath. So it's just a good unit overall. Yeah, it's just a solid pick for, you know, cleaver versus cleaver. You definitely want the Samath, I'd say. Let's see, Geldnir. I didn't see Geldnir too much. There are a few bruiser players that picked it into me. I do think it's good because it counters sort of that first, if you're running like a 2 damage dealer cleave, it counters that first hit, right? Because so for example, if I did like Zerath, Light Robo, and there's a Geldnir, probably have to ban it, right? Because the Robo will just do his thing, kill himself, but then the Geldnir will just heal it all off. So now I'm down 1 unit. Their team's full HP, and then Zerath is not gonna one-shot everything. At least not a bruiser comp, so. Didn't see Geldnir too much this season, but when I did, I thought it was pretty strong into me. Moving on, we have Amduat. Kind of just one of those RNG, you know, Antares, Amduat, Verd units. But if they do get the stun on the right unit or a pushback, it was probably over for me. It cycles so much, and it can single-handedly like take over a match. If it's landing slows on everything, it's getting pushbacks, stuns. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty unlikely that it strip stuns that one particular unit. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would put Amduat actually in a B tier because it's more like, it's a little bit more RNG. But when it pops off, you know, you probably lose. Okay, Veramos. Let me pick. Where's Juno? I think I glazed over Juno, but yeah, Juno, Veramos. Some games I would pivot off and do like a Belinus, and you know, these 2 units just hard counter it, so it was like a must ban in those drafts. So A tier. Yeah, A tier. Really strong units. especially with like Charlotte, Shizuka, Belinus. I had a few drafts like that. You have to ban this. Same with Annabelle. Again, like I last picked Belinus a lot, and if they're not bluffing and they're banning the Zerath, then you have to ban this, or it's just like, how do you kill this? Next up, Firecast. Definitely hated seeing this thing. You know, there's games where a Charlotte would, you know, skill 3 boost, but sometimes you would do too much damage to this and it would cut in, and you know, maybe go for a hit onto Zerath, and it doesn't even matter that she doesn't kill it. As long as you reduce reduce Zerath's HP, his damage output is severely nerfed. So really didn't like seeing this thing. Every time it was a pain to deal with, and there are a lot of drafts I have to let it through. So really strong into cleaves, I think. But the way you deal with it was like Rocky, Shizuka was really strong into that, so that's usually what I did. But again, you have to pivot off in a turn 2, which is like, you not always want to do that. Okay, we have Gianna. Gianna's really fallen off over the years. I still think she's pretty good. I didn't see her too much, but when I did, it was like always a Gianna, like Hagang sort of team. So you just have to outspeed this. And yeah, I mean, this season I also used to run a Jemire off will, so it dealt with Gianna pretty well, but for some reasons people started picking up like Swift Rens this season, so I had to put Jemire on will for that, and now Gianna kind of counters me a little bit more. But yeah, I think she's overall pretty good, especially if they're taking the Hagang. Okay, next up we have Adriana. Overall good unit, high base speed, swift set unit. Adriana Sonia. If I saw this, I just could not contest turn 1, I felt like, so usually I ended up doing like Shizuka, Vanessa Shizuka, Carlos or something. Yeah, I think she's overall pretty strong. Pontos. Yeah, Pontos, again, one of those units where it could be a trap. You know, if they're like double Nem Will or Violent Nemesis. So those were always kind of annoying to deal with. I mean, it's an instant win if it's Nemesis against me, usually. But overall, really strong. You know, 24 speed lead. It can follow up a strip with the silence or go for the immunity. So overall, pretty good. Usually if I saw this though, I would pick Juno. And, you know, I don't know, it becomes like a kind of like a bluff poker game at that point, because it's like, am I really banning the Pontos? You don't know. So I don't know, overall pretty strong unit. Wunsa, again, like the rest of these are all, I think, from Wunsa to Verd. I put like all these kind of attack bar booster units. But Wunsa was it again. If I see a Wunsa, I kind of have to play for like turn 2 or pick Nem traps. But yeah, typically my Nemesis Chiwu was doing pretty well into Wunsas. There are a few G3 players though that were catching on to that, and they would rune up like a 0 stats Wunsa. You know, like I think his skill 3 scales with his HP. So people were building like really squishy Wunsas, so it wouldn't proc Nemesis counters. So, but yeah, most of the games I think it was okay for the Nem trap stuff. So, but yeah, really good, strong overall. If I saw this, I had to like, you know, again, go for Nemesis stuff or turn 2. Yanhong. Again, it's a high-speed attack bar booster unit, which again counters like my Nemesis trap stuff. So if I saw one of these, I had to go turn 2 or pick like RNG stuff like Birds or Antares sometimes. Leo, most Yanongs were off will, I'd say, this season. So like Leo plus Cookie was pretty strong. But overall, yeah, really strong unit. Didn't like seeing it. Wedget, more attack bar booster stuff. Speed lead. Really counters Zerath because it's an anti-crit defense buff, which is, you basically have to hold the skill 3. You can't just throw it out with those buffs up. So usually when I saw this, I think I was doing like Jemire, Shizuka stuff, Juno maybe, depending on the draft. So yeah, really strong against me. Triton again, high base speed, swift unit with a pushback. It kind of, Nemesis Chiwu is kind of okay into swift Tritons, but again, it's like a coin flip at that point. If it glances, that's good, but 2, does it do enough damage to proc the Nemesis on your Chiwu? So some drafts I just had to let it through. But yeah, most of the time I didn't like seeing Triton. If it was like a last pick Triton, I'd usually ban it. Korvarchi. Really, all the puppets are super strong this patch. Like the skill 1 healing really put the puppets in a good spot, I think. But yeah, this thing is, again, it's an attack bar booster. There's like, I either have to outspeed these or bruiser. Right, I can't run any Nemesis stuff into them. So, yeah, Korvarchi was pretty annoying to deal with. Kabila, again, high base speed unit, booster. You have to bruiser or like pick Leo Cookie stuff into it. And triple revenge birds. Bird is just, yeah, he's been around so long, and you know what to expect when you see it. It's like, do you get the revenge? If you get it, you win. If you don't, then I win. People are picking this a lot into Charlotte, but typically, I actually found that as long as you can land, you have a decent chance to land the glancing hit on him. And if you do, and he still counters, 50-50 on that crit. So if he's critting once, it's 20% up, but I'm getting 30% bar, so usually it was fine. I let a lot of Verds through, even if when I was picking Charlotte, and I thought it was like it was more in my favor in that regard. So, but yeah, still really annoying to deal with. Yeah, Verd, we all know it. Verd is OP. Next up, Ethna. Okay, Ethna's Sekhmet. My whole draft with the Swift Jemire in front of Charlotte team was made because of these two. If I had to sum up the season 28 meta, it's probably like Oliver Moore, Ethna, Sekhmet, for the most part. And because of how often these two were picked, that's kind of how my comp got made. So of course they're going to be I think, but because I've accounted for these two pretty well, I wouldn't put them up here anymore. I do think Ethna's like overall like S tier at least. Being able to just shatter armor break and then kill something right off the bat on a 119 base speed unit is pretty insane. But overall, yeah, the Swift Jemire running in front of your team deals with these two pretty well. And Sekhmet is just... I remember the days where I used Sekhmet a lot too, and I do not miss those days, because if you miss your skill 3, it's probably a loss. So, I'm glad I don't use this anymore, to be honest, but she's still very good and, you know, relevant. It's just, I mean, if she always landed skill 3, she'd probably be up here, but that's not the case. So next up we have Hagang. Hagang was okay to deal with, you know, since I feel like the best counters into Hagang is to just run attack bar boosters. So stuff like most people probably would run like more Escher into a Hagang to counter it decently well. Charlotte again dealt with Hagang decently well, I'd say, but there were some drafts where my opener was like Zerath, Charlotte, Chiwu, Nemesis Chiwu, and they'd slam a Hagang down and it becomes kind of weird. But other than that, I do think this unit is overall, if I was doing like a generic tier list, Hagang would be up here somewhere. I think he does need to get a bit of a nerf. His passive kind of has like, it's like a double passive for some reason, where he has like the if a unit is cleansed, he gives 20 bar to the entire team or something like that. I think they should just take that off and just keep the, when a unit gets stripped, it boosts it. More I fought, oh my god, I don't know, like most of the matches it was like more Oliver, I'd say, but again, Nemesis Chiwu did pretty well in the Moors. It could kind of suck if it was a Despair Moor, because if it stuns, you know, Zerath or Charlotte, it's probably over, but most games that doesn't happen. But yeah, overall, I think it was pretty strong into me. Even if Charlotte outspeeds it, it could cut in and again, like absorb bar on something, Despair stun something, and that was always going to be pretty annoying. So, super solid unit. I don't think it needs a nerf or anything like that. I think it's in a good spot overall. Chiwu. So when people pick the Chiwu against me, obviously I'm down one of my key like trap picks. So usually if I saw this, I think I usually pivoted it into like a turn 2. I did have Hagang ruined up for a bit, maybe early to mid-season I had it ruined up, and then I mean, I wasn't picking it too often, namely because I could not get a Swift set faster than Charlotte. If I could, I probably would have this ruined up, but yeah, there were drafts where it's like they would just ban Zerath, right? Let the Hagang Charlotte through, but then it just doesn't make sense because Charlotte will move in front of the Hagang, and you know, it doesn't do too much. There's no impact. So, but yeah, Chiwu again. It's a swift unit. It glances everything. It pushes stuff back. Really strong into me if I was taking turn 2, and it was a speed lead, so it's contesting turn 1 too. Ezio's, I think we covered a little bit with Samath, right? The Samath, Kabila, Ezio stuff is, I can't outspeed this stuff. I have to turn to it, so, you know, I usually had to pick Leo, maybe a Cookie, and some Nemesis stuff, but overall it was pretty strong to me. Masha, well, obviously Masha is strong into Charlotte, so didn't like seeing it too much. But I mean, if they're letting Zerath Charlotte through, then you would just instantly dismount this, so it wasn't too bad. Volantis, again, like, it's a triple revenge, you know, ish unit. 40% to cut in. That wasn't too bad, you know, Charlotte boosting 30%, he gets 20%, so I still probably move, even if it procs, but it's still like a really annoying unit to deal with. Next up, Shizuka. Shizuka could be super annoying because she's got an HP lead and she can revive the one unit you kill. I found like a lot of Cardinal Shizuka comps that were just full turn 2ing. You know, you wouldn't typically kill. You might kill one unit, and then you know you just get counter cleaved by this stuff. So yeah, Shizuka's I felt like was pretty strong most of the games. Let's see, Nikki. I think I just put Nikki in here as like an honorable mention. You know, the skill 2, some Nikkis are pure damage, and then some are. I think some people actually build high res tank ones. So I've had a few that actually survived the combo and then just healed up the entire team, and it was like over. So overall, pretty strong unit too. And then B tier. So you know, Karma's sort of like Eleanor, where she has the 15% reduced crit rate for your team and an HP lead, so kind of annoying. You can't push her back with Charlotte either, or CC her, obviously, so she was decent. I'd say it wasn't too bad most of the games, but just an annoying unit. Same with Camilla. You can CC the Camilla with Charlotte, so it wasn't too bad, but she's definitely surviving the combo, and then you know, if she's proccing and healing everything up, then it was really annoying. Julian, again, like Julian's in B tier because against my teams, I didn't feel like it was super strong. Overall, Julian's probably a triple S tier unit, but because the meta build for Julian is like Vio-Nem, Charlotte just kind of pushes it back immediately. Messes up the turn order, and then you know dropping a nuke on them, typically just killing the entire team except for him, and then you know it's fine from there. So it wasn't really too hard to deal with. Helena's like, I thought she was pretty good every time I saw it. I mean, honestly, maybe even A tier because you know she's sort of like Carnal. But she doesn't have this HP lead, so maybe that's why I'm thinking she's B tier. But definitely has the potential to survive and then just solo your team. So really strong, and she heals herself. So yeah, really strong unit. Minato. Minato was okay. But then I'm usually running a lot of wind units. You know, like Jamira can attack break, slow this. Charlotte can stun it, so it wasn't too bad a lot of games. There could be some weird ones that you don't expect it to do well because of the threat state mechanic, and also because it puts the hand up and it will block the Zerath nuke, and then it might solo you, so it was kind of like maybe it does. Most of the time it doesn't though, so B tier. Again, another soloist, Arda. Arda could just be super annoying if it's strip stunning everything. You definitely can't cleave this without an armor break, so pretty good. And it's an HP lead, so really strong. Ayunu, didn't see it too much, but if I did see it, it was always like a Zerath counter. Thing is, I don't think too many people realize that you have to run attack bar when revived artifacts on this thing, or it's not going to work out too well, especially when I'm running, Charlotte, maybe a Draco. So this will revive, yeah, it'll do damage, but then something will just cut in and kill it again. So it's, if you pick it right, it can be really strong, but I think most people haven't figured that out yet. Tyrannus, just another reviver unit with defense buff. It's I didn't see it too much, but I figured it was, like a lot of the time I probably would have wanted to ban this if I saw it until like bruiser drafts. Kinky got nerfed super hard. Before he was at least an A tier for me, like maybe last season. Nowadays, it's pretty manageable. Like Jamira just attack speed slow, attack breaks this thing. It does nothing most of the time. So yeah, Kinky is that's a big rip for Kinky. Feng. Feng was okay. It always has the potential to solo your team, and it usually survives my combo. Right, it has like 20% damage reduction, so it's okay. But like, you can just glancing hit this, stun it. You know, all these other units can kind of deal with it, so it's okay. I did lose to a few, I remember, but I think like kind of RNG, like not in favor of whoever picks this, I would say. Okay, the fire cookie thing. People are picking this into Charlotte, obviously, to, I guess, reduce the amount of attack bar, that they lose. It's not that, I'd say it's not that great for that reason. What was annoying about it is the like triple revenge ones, where they heal off a unit and then maybe that unit gets pushed out of the kill rate, or the kill threshold for Zerath. It was okay, I would say, but most of the time, if I kill 2 units and you're left with this and some other unit, it probably doesn't matter. So it's alright. Antares, like RNG master, either wins you the game or just does nothing. Unless you have a Pinkroid Antares, then probably not worth picking very often. Thomas is again one of those second fastest unit in the game behind Leo, but the Swift Jamire deals with it, so doesn't hurt my comp too much unless it's last picked and I didn't draft a Jamire. Then it's pretty good, but other than that, it was fine. And not too many people were picking this up this season. Praha and Lima, just like bruiser units that, like, if Praha survives somehow, then she heals the whole full team and then it's just over. And some Limas were like triple revenge or double revenge will, right? If they cut in and they put invincibility up, then I just lose as well, so they're okay. Perna, I saw a few like Vanessa, Sagar, Perna, Escher games, and when you have like a double revive with bruisers, like you're not killing anything, and then the Perna can just one-shot anything and heal the team up, so it was okay. I didn't see it too much, but maybe people will pick this up again. Leona, didn't really see it too much, but because my team usually doesn't run armor breakers, it was like, if this is last picked, I have to ban it, so pretty decent. Again, more revivers over here. Triona, Elad. Usually I'd have to ban one of these, otherwise I'm not killing anything, or I'm killing stuff, but they're just gonna revive it all, and then I'm like out of ammo, right? So overall, we're decent. I think my Mephisto, I just ruined up like a high damage Mephisto, and usually it was always banned if they were picking stuff like this. So like Mephisto Rocky did pretty well into these 4, I'd say. But overall, like, kind of annoying to see. Gyu, probably one of the most annoying units this season. I mean, maybe this is A tier, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Karma hard counters Zerath. If you skill 3 on Zerath when you're Karma'd, you actually just drop to 1 HP or something like that, and you do no damage. It's actually really funny. The way I figured out how to counter Gyos is you pick Draco, right? Because Draco buffs, is it like 3 buffs? And then it becomes, a 33% chance to strip immunity and then land Karma, so yeah, it was manageable if I saw it early. What else? Leo wasn't too good against me. I ruined everything up on Will for the most part, so even when I was picking Yanhong, I was letting Leos through. Miles is kind of annoying, but again, it's like It's sort of like Ethna, where it's built fast and then it can stun something, but then Jemire just cleanses it and you're good to go. So it wasn't too bad. We talked about that already, and yeah, that's it for B tier. And then C tier, so I didn't see these too often. I thought they're worth putting on the list just because they're annoying, I guess. The cookie blocking Xerath hits is gonna be super annoying. You might just lose to that. Same with Molly. 15% glance chance, you know, stuff survives and then she heals everything. I maybe saw these early, like really early in the season, but no one seems to pick these anymore. Cian, I saw it a few times, but Xerath has a cleanse on skill too, so I always just let this through. Right, you kill the whole team and then Cian bombs, but you just cleanse those. Right, Xerath plus like Sauger was fine into this. The light or the water Indra guy. Honestly, I probably shouldn't even put this on here. It's the same thing with Cian. It revives and then you know, it can provoke and heal, but if everything else is dead, then I don't think this does enough damage to win the game. Miho. Yeah, Miho, I mean, I guess, you know, Xerath on 100 crit rate. Yeah, no, I think I saw this a few times, but, you know, not everything I run is maxed out. I think maybe I saw this against... No, I think every time I saw this, it was just lost because Draco, you know, Draco, Vanessa, stuff like that are running low crit rate and you could just, you know, hit it, roll on it a few times and it was fine. So kind of a meme unit this time. I still think you could probably pick this and do like Leo, Diana, Ragdoll teams. Like, it's probably worth to have one runed up still, to be honest, but overall didn't really work out when it was picked against me. So yeah, I think that's it. So again, this isn't an overall tier list. I probably should have said that at the beginning, but this is like, for me personally, cleaving people with Xerath. These are picks I didn't usually want to see too often, especially up here. Or, you know, picks that gave me trouble or made me pivot off into something else. So yeah, I think that's it. We can check here really quick, see if I missed anything. Let's see. Oh, Veronica. Overall triple S tier. I would say overall she's triple S, but against me it was probably like an A. Again, I run Swift Jemire to counter Ethna Segment Veronica stuff. So a lot of these LD cleaves I actually did pretty well in do. But again, overall, like, probably one of the best units in the game. Let's see. Any other weird units? This thing actually, the water orc guy. Again, it's like one of these. It's these bruiser gods where they're just have so many base stats on high. And this thing has high base speed too with an HP lead, so you know it's hard to cleave this thing. And it heals itself, it absorbs bars, stuns everything, strips. You know, really good unit. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else that gave me problems this season? I don't think so. Josephine, probably like B tier. I didn't see her too much. When she was last picked, it was like, this is annoying, you know. I don't think it's super strong here. I just don't want to deal with it. Right, if I stun something and it cuts in and provokes my damage dealer, it's gonna be kind of annoying. Wait, did I do Seimei? I don't don't think I did. This is same A, right? I can't tell. Same A was like, I don't know, just like in between A and B, I think. There were games where she was just last picked, and I was like, okay, just ban it. Alright, it's gonna heal too much. I think people were, if I picked Belinus, people were picking this, so yeah, it's kind of like over here with Juno Vermos. Let's see, Nagong. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably B tier overall, yeah, same thing with these. Jackson, I forgot this guy. Whoa. Alright, somewhere, I think Jackson... Yeah, I think it depends on what's around the Jackson. If it's like Ragdoll Jackson, I just have to do some turn 2 thing. But like overall, it doesn't do anything in the game. It's just the passive that is really, you know, it has to have good units around it to work. So I think overall it was B tier, but yeah, it's pretty good and do like Charlotte Tableau stuff. Let's see. I think that's it, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. Alright. So yeah, that is my season 28. I don't know, annoying units I don't like to see list. I guess the cleaver, like a cleave, anti-cleave tier list. Maybe we'll call it that. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.